All right, so this is how it started. Check it out.
Are the single ladies where these ICE guys are going have a chance to do something, not without risk, but could help the cause for sure. Get on Tinder, get on Hinge, find these guys. They're around. They're an ICE agent, bring some X-Lax and put it in their drinks. Get them sick. Nobody's gonna die. Just enough to incapacitate them, get them off the street for the next day. Highly easily deniable. You could get sick too. Won't eat there again. I'm just saying, let's get them where they eat. Somebody's not going to be supporting these guys. Where's the hotel where they eat? Who makes that breakfast? Let's find them. Let's make their lives miserable. I know we're already trying to keep them awake all night. That's good. Anything you can do to make the living conditions bad. Talk to the people who work at the places where they are. Come up with some ideas. Dead fish. Somewhere in the room hidden. Just stay toxic. Okay, for today's resistance tip, I vote, anybody got any poison ivy, poison oak in their yard? Get some of that up with gloves, obviously. Get it in some water, like a gallon of water. Get the poison ivy oak water, and I'm gonna put it into a water gun. Aim for faces, hands. Get good and wet. That might be a good, like, if you're gonna do this, you're gonna be miserable and itch. The bologna on the cars that they're throwing there is a nice touch of hair, takes pain off. Sorry, I just got out of the shower and I look like a raccoon, but I thought of something good. I think it's stuck in the weird spot. Sabotage tactic, or at least scare tactic. All the medical providers, grab some syringes with needles on the end. Have them full of saline or succinylcholine, whatever. That will probably be a deterrent. Be safe.
A nurse who encouraged the use of paralytic drugs on ICE agents has now been fired.
Sabotage tactic, or at least scare tactic. All the medical providers, grab some syringes with needles on the end. Have them full of saline or succinylcholine, whatever.
That's Melinda Cook, and she was a nurse at Virginia Commonwealth University Health, where she has now been terminated after she uploaded those TikTok videos encouraging people to inject ICE agents with a drug that causes temporary paralysis.
Are the single ladies where these ICE guys are going have a chance to do something, not without risk, but could help the cause for sure. Get on Tinder, get on Hinge, find these guys. They're around. They're an ICE agent, bring some X-Lax and put it in their drinks. Get them sick. Nobody's gonna die. Just enough to incapacitate them, get them off the street for the next day. Highly easily deniable. You could get sick too. Won't eat there again.
VCU Health initially put Melinda Cook on leave while they investigated the situation. And then they just released this statement yesterday announcing her termination.
All right, so this nurse recorded herself saying that, if you see ice, maybe you should put some drugs on that ice, to be paralyzed, something like that. In other words, something which goes against the very principle of what it takes to be a nurse, what doctors stand for, where you're supposed to take care of patients, you're supposed to make sure if you have a patient, you're supposed to make sure that patient is well looked after. You give them medicine, and you follow the procedure so that by the end of the day, this patient, is alive and well taken care of until they get better. So basically, what she was saying, what she recorded, was literally against the doctor, or should I say nursing principle. Yeah. So let's watch this video, and then we're going to talk about it at the end.
I thought of something good. I think it's stuck in the weird spot. Sabotage tactic, or at least scare tactic. All the medical providers, grab some syringes with needles on the end. Have them full of saline or succinylcholine, whatever. That will probably be a deterrent. Be safe.
This is the second example I've seen of a CRNA in the United States advocating to either deny care or harm people of a different political background than them, or the federal police officers that they're not in line with. This woman's using her anesthesia knowledge to advise people to steal anesthesia drugs, take them and inject them into federal police officers in order for them to have a long suffering death where they're not able to breathe, they're wide awake, and they're being tortured, they're paralyzed. That drug, succinylcholine, that she's talking about, that causes you to be paralyzed and awake. You can't breathe, you can't blink, you're slowly suffocating as you're awake. It's a very evil thing to advise people, and unless you understand what these medications do, you don't quite understand the gravity of what she said. But she shouldn't touch another patient. Someone that has this kind of an opinion, someone that wants to use our knowledge of anesthesia to harm people, you're dangerous. You're a dangerous person, and I don't think you should be touching patients.
Okay, so and this is how it ends. Karma is a bitch. They always say you have to be careful what you record yourself online, because you never know what might happen. So this is what happened.
They're an ICE agent, bring some X-Lax and put it in their drinks. Get them sick. Get the poison ivy oak water, and I'm gonna put it into a water gun. Aim for faces. All the medical providers, grab some syringes with needles on the end. Have them full of saline or succinylcholine, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. A Virginia nurse now under investigation for apparently telling her TikTok followers ways to hurt ICE agents. Let's bring in former Disney star and former Trump campaign deputy communications director Caroline Sunshine. I mean, the whole retort is she's not saying kill people. She just wants to shake them up, rattle them, maim them, hurt them, paralyze them, that kind of stuff. It's not killing anybody.
Oh, it's shocking. And
Yeah.
I've seen so many of these videos on social media, way more than I'm comfortable seeing, because these are healthcare providers in America, and 60% of the country supports mass deportations. More than half the country voted for President Trump. So just think about that. What these people are signaling to you is that if you were in the hospital, or I were in the hospital, or people with our political beliefs were in the hospital, they do the same thing to us. And I really, when I see them, that they're not only they hold these beliefs as healthcare providers, but that they're willing to post those videos online, that is a mental illness. The fact that you are posting that kind of content online, wanting validation, I think it should be grounds for having their medical licenses revoked. Because think about it, it would be the same thing if a pilot on a plane said, if I find out there's any ice on this plane, I'm gonna probably crash it. You would disbar him immediately. You wouldn't allow him to fly. It should be the exact same thing. These are some of the most mentally ill people. They should not be allowed to administer health care to any American, regardless of political
They post them because they feel emboldened to post them. They
Yes.
post them because they can put up signs and do whatever they want, but if you wear a MAGA hat, they will condemn you for doing that. Meantime, here's a montage of, here's some of your this is old Hollywood. Some of the people in Hollywood who also have a different tilt. Watch this.
What they're doing in Minnesota with the strike needs to expand. I think we should be talking about a national general economic strike until this is over.
It's impossible not to talk about what is happening right now and the brutality of ICE.
If we can do anything out here to support the movement to cast ICE out, to delegitimize this unbelievably criminal organization, then that's what we should be doing.
My thing is, if you want to talk. If you want to talk, but at least do your homework. At least find out that what you're saying is accurate so that you don't look like that.
Yes. And I mean, you know, I worked in Hollywood and
Right.
I was canceled for being a Disney star that did my homework and went to go work for President Trump in the White House. All of these people are going to keep their jobs. But I love how all these actors suddenly become policy experts the second they have a liberal political opinion. There's two also that I find really problematic. Alex Earl and Alex Cooper. For those of you watching, if you don't know them, I bet your daughters do. They are two of the biggest female content creators out there.
Yeah.
Posting anti-ICE content. And the problem I have with that is these women built their audiences off of young college-aged women and appealing to those women. Where were they when Laken Riley was assaulted and killed by an illegal immigrant? I bet Laken Riley watched their content. I bet she followed them on Instagram. Silence. But the second it's popular to be anti-ICE, oh my gosh, everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah, I got to go, but I want to get you on this very quickly. Trump executive order to help Los Angeles rebuild after the fires. The federal government has approved numerous individual relief claims to provide financial support directly to owners of homes and businesses and help survivors repair, rebuild, return home, reopen their businesses, and restore their communities. Newsom should be grateful, but you know he's not.
You know he won't,
seconds.
but you know all of those people in the Palisades, many of whom probably didn't vote for President Trump, are going to be grateful once again that where Democrat leaders fail, President Trump steps in. Whether it's East Palestine, the Palisades, North Carolina hurricane, President Trump is there to step in where Democrats fail.
I tell you, this is going to be something to see.
Yeah.
Caroline, thank you.
A nurse from Virginia, USA, has been arrested following a series of videos she posted on social media platforms. In these videos, she openly expressed intense hostility toward U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and repeatedly incited other healthcare workers to engage in radical actions. Beyond emotional outbursts, she provided specific operational suggestions, including advising colleagues to use syringes to inject ICE agents with paralyzing drugs to temporarily incapacitate them. After the incident came to light, her healthcare institution swiftly launched an investigation and immediately terminated her employment. Subsequently, law enforcement agencies became involved in the case, ultimately leading to her arrest. More critically, such conduct constitutes severe professional misconduct, not only violating ethical standards, but also posing a potential threat to public safety. Relevant licensing authorities have initiated license review and disciplinary proceedings against her. This means she will be permanently barred from the healthcare system, her professional credentials revoked, effectively ending her career.
A certified registered nurse anesthetist named Melinda Rose Cook, formerly employed by VCU Health, posted social media videos suggesting harm or sabotage against ICE agents, including references to paralytic drugs. So that conduct violated ethical and professional standards. VCU Health investigated, she was terminated. Professional organizations condemned her actions. That accountability is appropriate. So now the second truth, which is not optional. This did not happen in a vacuum. In 2026 alone, ICE-related enforcement actions and detention have resulted in 4 publicly known deaths and multiple shootings. So Alex Preddy, who's the 37-year-old nurse and legal observer that was shot and killed during an ICE operation. Renee Nicole Macklin Good, killed during the same federal enforcement surge in Minnesota. Keith Porter Jr., a black man killed by a former ICE officer. Geraldo Lunis Campos, who died in ICE custody, his death was ruled a homicide by asphyxiation. These are not isolated tragedies. They are the outcomes of policy. So yes, we have to hold Melinda accountable for what she said. But accountability does not stop at a hospital termination or a professional board statement. This violence is being enabled by federal policy, enforced by ICE leadership, and permitted by cabinet-level officials and elected leaders who continue to fund, expand, and defend these operations despite a rising body count. So if a clinician is expected to uphold do no harm, then the government must be held to the same standard. When deaths continue and leadership does nothing, that is not oversight. That is authorization. Accountability must extend beyond individuals to the systems, agencies, and officials who allow this to continue. Anything less is not justice, it is deflection.
The certified registered nurse anesthetist, the CRNA from Virginia, who was threatening to steal anesthesia drugs and inject them, or advising people to steal anesthesia drugs and inject them into ICE agents, has been fired from VCU. She has lost her job. This is great news. This person should not be practicing. Here's a statement from VCU Health. Now, this is just like the beginning of the issue with her. She's probably going to end up losing her nursing license, hopefully, over this. She shouldn't be touching patients. However, this has kind of opened my eyes to the fact that there needs to be some better quality control in terms of ensuring that people like this don't have access to patients. This is definitely not the first time she's thought something like this. This is definitely not the first time that her extreme bias has, reared its ugly head within her brain, within her mind. We don't know if she's done anything else. I don't want to speculate, but people like this shouldn't be in charge of people's lives and safety during surgery. This is just my opinion. There needs to be better quality control over people like this young CRNA.
All right, so literally we are looking at this video. As much as we might not agree on the way ICE do their job, but when a patient is brought to the hospital, regardless whether you agree with whatever they're doing or you're against it, as a rule, when you're a doctor or when you're a nurse, you're supposed to take care of your patient. You're supposed to make sure your patient are looked after. You're supposed to make sure your patient get proper medication, proper medical services. You're supposed to make sure your patient, is the procedure is being followed up to the end until the patient is get better. That's literally how it is when you become a nurse. So what this nurse literally did was going against the whole ethics of being a nurse, of being as a nurse practitioner, as a doctor practitioner, as basically as a person who is under the medical, let's say the hospital service. So that's the reason why the whole America, the uproar, why she went viral, because what she was saying, literally people are not understanding. They're like, okay, so if you can say this and you're a nurse, so what else have you done? That's basically what was going inside people's head. Even me, when I saw these videos, like, okay, so if you can record yourself saying this, does it mean there's some other things you've done that people don't know about? And literally right now, as we speak, yes, there's investigation going on. And of course, they're going to look at her, at her file to see how she's been treating other patients in the past. Because what she said goes against the whole fiber of being a nurse. Even when you look at other nurses, the way they're talking about it, they're not happy about it because, yes, people don't like what ICE are doing. People don't agree with what they're doing. But when a patient comes to the hospital, he or she has the right to be treated. He or she deserves to see a doctor. He or she deserves to see the nurse. And the nurse is supposed to take care of this patient until they get better by following the procedure that the doctor has recommended, the kind of treatment, the kind of medicine supposed to be given, or if supposed to, whatever it is supposed to be done during at the time this patient is in the hospital should be followed until that patient becomes better. So what we saw literally goes against the ethics of being a nurse, a practitioner. Was it too harsh? Viewers, I'm asking this question. Was the treatment too harsh? Was it wrong for the government to come in and say, we're investigating you, we are going to find out exactly, did you record this, did you do it, and are there other patients who suffered under your care? That's basically what has happened. Like they say, you have to be careful what you write. You have to be careful what you record yourself. You have to be careful what you put out there, especially in the internet, because at the end of the day, you need to look at yourself. Have that self-awareness, because you might end up losing everything. Now look what has happened to her. She's probably going to lose her job. She's probably going to lose her reputation. She's probably going to face illegal charges and lawyers. Those are expenses. That is money that she did not plan to spend, but here she is. And if she's not careful with this whole situation, she might even end up going to jail. So yeah, decisions have consequences. What you do have consequences. So you need to be aware of what exactly you're posting. So my question to you guys, my viewers, what the nurse did, was it right? Was it wrong? What are your thoughts? I'd like to hear from you guys, and kindly subscribe to my channel.